This is a match between Ashlyn and ReggiesWar. We have Fight from a robot named Fight versus Taisei from 7th Cross. Up first. And it looks like Ashlyn is running Taisei and Reggie is running Fights. That checks out. Alright, I'll talk more about these fighters in just a second. I'm going to get these names up on the screen. Alright, so Taisei is a highly aggressive character, bloodthirsty monster. Starts at half-life, which I'm sure they'll be correcting momentarily, and then spends life to gain extra power. He is highly unsafe. Alright, he opens with Grave Ambitions, one of the most threatening boosts in the game. It is before close 3, which will attach to his next attack. Lets him be way above curve and secure hits he otherwise couldn't accomplish. This is particularly important against a character like Fight, who is an effective zoner. He is more aggressive than most zoners, arguably, but he has attacks that hit at ranges basically up to 8, depending. 3 to 5 on a special, 4 to 6 on a special, 3 to 8 on an ultra, if I recall correctly. So being able to threaten to close in faster than his fast range moves is very valuable. Alright, what do we got? +1 speed and now advanced retreat 1. Yep, makes sense. That's Arachnomorph, it's an ultra boost, Zero Force. Pretty good. Moving away ensures that Taisei won't be able to get all the way into his face, but Taisei Taisei isn't now completely safe here. So normally he could play an Anathema Surge at speed 6 to close 3 and hit at range 2. However, Fight can now potentially play an EX Explosive Bolts. One EX can turn the game very, very quickly at this stage. If possible, you should try to kill Taisei before he has the ability to flip. So the thing about Taisei is that if he gains the ability to exceed before you drop him to 0 life, then when he would die, he instead exceeds. So your goal, if possible, is prevent him from acquiring enough transformations or gauge to be able to flip. Unfortunately, it's very hard to do that. Anathema Surge makes sense. He's going to gain some life from that hit effect, gain some armor so that he doesn't trade as badly into the focus because he's not dealing any actual damage, and get a decent transformation, which will count toward his exceed cost, of course, as with all 7th Cross characters. So in 7th Cross, characters have these transformations. They are permanent effects that you may choose to put into play if you hit with the attack, or by discarding one copy to play the other from your hands. Each transformation in play reduces your exceed cost by 2 permanently, which means Taisei now only needs 3 gauge to exceed. If he gets his other 2 transformations into play, his exceed will be free, meaning he has effectively earned an extra life. Alright, Fight has backed up with the Power Jump boost, which is Advanced Retreat 2. If you don't move past the opponent, add this card to your gauge. That is a resource positive, or at least resource neutral way of moving around the board. Taisei closes 1, standing at range 2. Range 2 is pretty awkward for Fight. He prefers to be at 3 or greater for most of his attacks, but he still has normals, so this isn't exactly safe for anyone. Of course, Taisei has the other copy of Anathema Surge somewhere in his deck, and is threatening that. Fight runs out of the corner so that he doesn't end up getting pressured into the corner too fiercely by Taisei. Gives him some room to retreat by potentially playing another cross, or backstepping by playing the Assault boost. Taisei is considering his next action. Normally I would see a prepare here, however there's a decent chance that he'll lose his footing if Fight is given the chance to retreat across the board. Without Grave Ambitions, which is the before close 3 boost and Bloodthirst, Taisei doesn't really have a lot of mobility. Ashen Claws is good, but it's ineffective at ranges greater than 4. Alright, looks like he boosts Demon Hide, +3 armor with after you may spend 2 life if you do return to your hand at the end of the strike. +3 armor, this is a good boost. However, Fight, if he, let's see, was this +1 speed after retreat 1? Okay, after retreat 1. So this kind of telegraphs that he wants to play across, if he has the other one. Taisei is striking, and does not appear to be... Yep, there you go. Spending 2 life for +2 power. That is Taisei's character ability. He can spend up to 2 life for each life that he spends this way, +1 power. That is when he sets his attack. Looks like Fight is using his ability to add power to his attack. When he sets his attack, he can spend Force. Oh no. Alright, that is Flamethrower. At speed 6, going to come in ahead of the speed 3 spike. Flamethrower will deal 6 damage because he spends 2 Force for +2 power, because that's his character ability. Which does 3 over the 3 armor, which will stun because it has Ignore Guard on it. So Fight's ability, like Taisei's ability, lets him add up to +2 power to his attack, but he does it by spending Force instead of life. Alright. Fight initiates, probably an explosive. Yep, there it is, explosive shot. That'll deal 3 quick damage and gain him that ultra back engage. So it has hit at the top of your discard to your gauge. Discard management is a pretty interesting feature of a number of characters. Since Fight has that hit effect at the top of his discard, he actually cares about in what order he spends things. So he made sure to leave an ultra on top, so that now, instead of just getting 1 gauge or 1 force, he has a card that is worth 2 force if he spends it as force. Managing your force effectively is a crucial part of playing Fight. Looks like Taisei is getting ready to initiate. He's in fairly low hand size and he only has 6 life. He needs to be careful he doesn't just instantly explode and die, but this could be a very quick game. Fight still has access to ignore armor options. Notably, Taisei has +1 power automatically thanks to his transformation. That is true while he is at 6 or less life, right? Yep. If he was in Exceed mode, he would also have +1 power. As it is, he does not. Looks like Fight might have an EX attack. Did I just see 2 cards get... Oh, dear. Alright, he's just dodging. So that is... Yep. He spent the force to gain extra power, but actually he did it to gain the extra speed. This has +1 speed for each force he spent this turn, meaning he played that out at speed 7, guaranteed to retreat out of range. Fight is good at range, Taisei is not, so he successfully dodged the Ashen Claws. Taisei decided not to push or pull with his after effects, so he kept the positioning where it was. They are now both prepping to reload on resources, since they both basically spent all their aggression up front. This is a very bad position for Taisei, a very good position for Fight. Alright, Taisei is spinning Force to advance. Spinning Chaos Scissors is always painful, considering how valuable that boost is, but we do what we must. Can't stand at range and just get swatted down. Hello, Sinfulness. Hey, Gaboxel. Hey, Jay. Here we go again. Alright, Fight preps, building up that force, building up those resources. Fight's also looking to get that 3rd gauge in the near future because his Exceed has a what we call a kicker, which is a when you exceed effect. That makes him very, very dangerous for a brief period of time because it lets him put boosts into play from his discard pile. So he will instantly get 2 boosts as well as his Exceed effect, meaning he will almost certainly win the next strike decisively. However, he needs a 3rd gauge in order to do that. Taisei obviously hunting for his transformations. Fight moves to range 1. That's a little bit surprising. It telegraphs that he probably has normals in hand that he's looking to fight with, or to trade with at least. Trading with Taisei is dangerous business. Let's see what we get. If Taisei is holding... Ooh, Dust to Dust decides not to play the attack, instead just puts into play his transformation directly by discarding 1 copy. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's a very valuable transformation. It means that whenever Taisei spends life for any reason, he generates counters which give him extra armor until the end of the next strike, so the next time a strike ends. This applies for the rest of the game, and it means that anything he has that would normally cost him life also gains him armor, meaning it's basically life neutral, assuming that you get hits. Of course, if you stun your opponent, then it doesn't matter anyway. Fight plays hit range 3 +3 power. This telegraphs either power, jump, or grasp, since he is out of retreating bolts. That is a potent boost, pretty scary because it means he could just end the game immediately, especially if he has an EX grasp. Depending on how many blocks Taisei has... Oh, here we go! That is 3 life. To play the 3rd transformation, Taisei has earned his extra life. That means he also has 3 armor. He should probably get a counter for that. Alright. The game is afoot. Chaos Scissors is a continuous... Demon Blood is a continuous boost as well because it has hit gain 2 life on top of it. So if Taisei does manage to land a hit, it'll be good for him. We have a +2 power and strike from Fight. That is almost certainly the grasp, but we'll see. Sometimes you don't have it, and sometimes you just gotta run the mix-up. Up to you if you want to come in, Marco. It's happening so fast. I'm good either way. Like, I feel like there's barely room to even just cover what's happening, let alone to make conversation. There are some lulls, but these are two very aggressive players. This is Reggie and Ashlyn. They're fairly well known on the Discord. Both highly aggressive players. Ashlyn's more of an aggressive set play, and Reggie is noted as one of the most aggressive players in the scene. Probably now top 3. Alright, Taisei spends 2 life, gaining another +2 armor for a total of 5. What do we get?
Am I okay to be here?
Yeah, absolutely. Hop on in.
Right.
Ooh.
Can you send me the details? I actually don't know.
Oh, right. Sorry, I realized they didn't post that publicly.
Yeah, it's no problem. Right, this seems like a really interesting matchup. We often call fight just more life Taisei or something along those lines, right?
I'm just gonna double check and get their permission.
Oh, absolutely fine.
I didn't think about that.
If they're not okay with it, then that's okay.
It is. Alright.
Right. Oh, so we have Ashlyn against Reggie. This is a really interesting matchup, for sure. Reggie, well-known fight lover. Yes, J Fight has not taken any damage.
Okay, looks like Taisei has just flipped. This is looking good for fight. I will send you those credentials since they...
Is that okay? Wonderful.
Yeah.
I just want to help out, you know?
Yeah, sure. Taisei had 5 armor, but fight had, let's see, what, 8 power? Yes, 8 power.
Yeah, it was a decent bit of power. Fight tends to go crazy in terms of power, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had shoot over in play, and he also spent his character ability. That also means fight has his 3rd gauge, which is pretty terrifying.
Right, which means he can now exceed and pull some continuous boosts out. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Got a good stockpile going.
Yeah. Hey, that's a Joel mechanic.
Wrong game.
The wrong game? Oh, it's okay. I like this game a lot, though. So, I think so. So, Daniel, as somebody who knows a lot about these characters and these players, what is Taisei's out here? What should Taisei be doing in order to come back? Because we're at the 20 health life deficit here.
Land reads with Nightmare Terrors, because Taisei basically has infinite gauge at this point. Well, not infinite, but he can spend life to generate gauge, so he doesn't have to worry about actually spending gauge to pay for his ultras. So, digging up Nightmare Terrors and either using it as an attack or potentially playing the boost and then making a hard read to win the next strike is what's going to help him out most. Unfortunately, Fight has access to a lot of speed boosts, which means that in neutral and in set play, he will generally have an advantage over the Season 2 fighter that relies on transformations.
Right, for sure. Even if Taisei has all of his transformations up, it's still going to cost him dearly, especially because he hasn't hit his life threshold for that extra stats, right?
Yeah, that looks like reading into focus with an ignore guard attack. Oof, harsh.
Ooh, rough.
Yeah, he had 6 power and Taisei had 2 armor, so that's 4. On the bright side, that means that Olahan now has +1 speed in all of his attacks.
Yeah, right. Now Dulahan has the life threshold to get those bonus stats. This is really looking rough. I think Taisei should be taking the routes, right? Taisei should be doing stuff like, you know, playing crazy, essentially. As awful as that sounds sometimes, you have to do it.
Oh, I mean, I definitely agree. Both these characters benefit from that. They are very strong in set play, but in order to play them to their fullest potential, I would argue you need to play them with a pretty high level of relentless aggression, which we're definitely seeing on Fight's side of the table. I'm not sure if this is this is definitely not the most aggressive Taisei I've seen. It feels pretty in the middle.
Right. I mean, to be fair, the one piloting Fight is Reggie, patently known as one of the most aggressive players in the game. More aggressive than me, and that's saying a lot, right?
Yep.
So I think this matchup's really interesting. Daniel, usually, what do you think Fight should be doing now to close out the game? Does Taisei have the potential to come back? What should Fight be watching out for?
I think Fight actually needs to do exactly what he's doing. Yeah, Boost Warring here can secure him a guaranteed hit. Now, he should, I believe, reshuffle in the very near future because both copies of Explosive Shot, or Explosive Bolts...
oh, okay. Both of them are gone?
Yeah, Explosive Something is gone. It is his ranged Ignore Armor attack, and he's going to probably need that Ignore Armor in the near future to secure the kill.
Right. Yeah, Taisei is surprisingly resilient, you know, despite being a character with, like, less than half health.
Oh yeah, he is very, very hard to kill. Oh, it is Explosive Shot. Thank you, Sinfulness. All right, we have a +3 power and strike, I believe that was.
Ooh.
Oh no, 2 power, excuse me. But it has
Okay.
+4 already, so if it lands, it probably kills.
Right, right.
And it was known, evidently. He revealed it, which means that it was a known card in hands from earlier, which makes sense. There was a parry that whiffed, so.
Yes, yes. So now Taisei just has to cross out of this. I don't think there's any other way we can go about this. Maybe Nightmare? Does Nightmare work here? I don't think so, right?
It saves his life.
Right, but it doesn't. He doesn't trade with it, right?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he gets min-ranged because of it.
Yeah, he could also assault to dodge since his assault is 1 faster. Like right now on speed boosts, they're kind of technically neutral because of Taisei's transformation. Yeah. There you go.
That makes sense. Right, right. I was not calculating that. That's the assault. That's the out.
Yep, that'll
There
dodge.
we go.
Fight advances past to roughly mid-board, and hey,
Right.
now
And
they are in
actually,
battleground positions.
Actually, I think this is the turning point, right? This is where Taisei gets the space because once Fight is out of a hand, that's where you get the room because Fight doesn't have a lot of ways to easily reload, especially with no gauge, right?
Agreed. Yeah, Fight really needs to win that strike to close the game. Taisei now has an opportunity to come back, and he can come back real hard.
Right. I mean, because it's Taisei, right? And Fight, when Fight is on the back pedal, is not the ideal character. Not a lot of great defensive cards, especially up close. So we're gonna have to see how Reggie deals with this.
Agreed. Once Fight's out of resources, things are bad. He can come back from just about anything as long as he has enough force to use his character ability. Without it, though, his attacks tend to just be very weak.
Right. Okay, so we're seeing Taisei boost some speed here. Do you think that's a smart idea against somebody with no hand?
I think I probably would have just favored the strike, but it depends on what is left in Fight's deck. They've both been checking discards. I haven't been keeping that careful track, but Taisei might be wanting to guarantee a hit against a remaining cross.
That makes sense. Yeah, the cross would actually instantly set up a lot of Fight kill confirms, because Fight is, for people who don't know, a ranged character, so that might actually be scary. So that's a valid threat. Oh, a wild swing.
Makes sense. On offense, at range 2, Taisei still has a number of decent threats. That was not among them.
Block into a sweep, I believe. Oh, rough.
Unfortunate. That is a speed 3 block, comically enough.
That's the fastest block alive.
I saw
What's
a
the
speed 6
fastest block
block
you've
earlier.
ever played?
I don't know what I've played. I played against a speed 6 block in a game the other day. It was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh.
It was Sagat, and he had Swift Destruction and Light in play.
All right, then did he face up block?
He did not face up. It was a speed 6, not
Dang.
7. All right, we have the sweep effects burning a dive. There's a Nightmare Tears spinning as force, so that Taisei gains the gauge.
Right, right.
Interesting. I definitely would have kept the Nightmare Tears up because it is a valuable threat against Fight.
Right, and it's also a get out of jail free card. Essentially, for now, you could play it as essentially another block. So, ooh.
+1 speed after retreat 1. That is, however, the second electric charge you've seen drop. Taisei is actually, Fight is running out of his ranged options.
Right. I think at this point, Fight is starting to bank on wild swings, right? It's very rough at range 2. Fight is not great at 1, but he's not amazing at 2 either. So I think Fight should be moving more into his effective ranges, Daniel.
That makes sense. Interestingly, I think Tears is guaranteed to hit thanks to this after effect. So if Taisei had the other copy, he should play it.
Right. Maybe that was the mix-up.
Ooh, nice.
It is the mix-up!
Yep. So Taisei can spend 4 life as gauge to pay the cost of this attack. It generates a bunch of armor that doesn't matter in the slightest because Spike is coming in. But the text on Nightmare Tears means that Taisei cannot be dropped below 1 life. He just won't die. He also is not stunned.
And he'll deal a lot of damage as a result and heal up because of that. So there's that Taisei resilience we were talking about earlier, right? It seems like he's out, but he's not.
Fight is still low on resources. He only has 1 card left, and it's in his gauge, not hands. Again, forced on wild swinging, and Taisei has... He doesn't have a speed bonus anymore, actually. He healed a little bit too much.
Oh, no, unfortunate. But I think one thing that we have to notice here is that...
action.
Oh, great. Fight is a very normals-based character if you're playing it like Reggie does. And that means that as your deck thins out, the more your play patterns get way more predictable, right? So that's... Oh, wow. Nice pluck on that extra sweep.
Yep. All right. We have Fight probably retreating. No, advancing.
Oh, advancing.
All right. Not
Maybe
afraid.
for the gauge.
Yep. Also, he may just be ready to trade for lethal if he has a sweep or a focus available.
Right. He is against Dulahan, not Taisei, which means that he can't actually buff his attacks to guard crush.
Correct. unless he flips Bloodthirst, which he can spend life to generate the force to pay for the power, which would drop him below 7, which would give you another plus power. There's some pretty cool combos Taisei can do in the late game.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Moving back 1, huh?
Mm-hmm. And that will drop his life to 6, which means he qualifies for Edge of Death. That is +1 speed.
Right.
This is
that +1 speed's gonna be very powerful.
What is he striking with?
Block.
Ah, okay.
Right.
It seems very risky here because I think Taisei's speed 6. Wait, what?
I think Reggie was just doing a poor man's tech, right?
No, I'm just trying to figure out why Dullahan advanced.
Doesn't that have an after?
Nope.
No, it's just gain life. So why did Dullahan advance?
I don't know. They'll sort it out though. They're both good at paying attention to game state.
Right. You should probably just ask at this point. There's no shame in doing so.
Yeah.
So while Daniel does that, I think this is a very interesting matchup because these two characters are essentially the same character. We often make a joke in the community that Fight and Taisei are just like the same character playing on different tangents. And I think it's a very interesting paradigm to think about. Very good move on Taisei's part, by the way. He's spending that to get back down to the threshold and getting some card advantage. This is where Taisei comes back. I think this is the way that needed to happen. Taisei needed to get that Nightmare Tears up, like you just said, and we needed to run Fight out of resources. But Fight now has 3 cards and 2 gauge, which is more often good enough to kill someone. So we'll see how Reggie plays this move.
Oh no, EX Bloodthirst. That is one of the strongest specials in the game, but it lands to a block, which means it will not earn its full payout. That is unfortunate for Taisei. That'll waste one of the most powerful attacks that he has access to, as well as the 3 armor he gained from spinning life in the last turn.
Right. It also gets rid of one of his best hit confirm boosts as well. So that's a lot of power budget just gone from that block. Good play on Reggie's part.
Yep, I believe that is coming in at 7 damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. I don't know. Math.
Yeah, there's a lot of math here. I mean, be prepared to do that every Taisei game, right?
Yep, life goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Armor goes up and down.
Right. Yeah, and this is like the very cornered animal aspect of Taisei that I feel like is a very interesting thing about the character, is that when the character goes low on life, because he starts so low naturally, oh wow.
Oh, we have a +3
Reggie
power
knows exactly
wild
what this
swing.
card is.
Yes, he does.
That means it's a very scary option. It's very likely just his other cross, right? Because another cross was still live before any of this happened.
I believe so.
So basically, I'm betting that this is cross. Cross with +3 power is still dangerous in and of itself. Even if it doesn't kill Taisei right now, it will end with a Fight at maximum range, and Taisei doesn't have any of his confirm boosts anymore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Dullahan will outspeed with his +1 speed boost thanks to Edge of Death. However, he does gain a life, which means he won't deal the full 4 damage.
Right. Which is still fine, it's better than dying.
As a courtesy, Reggie is revealing the last card in his hand because it can be deduced if Ashlyn chooses to search his discard pile.
Right. It's just better for everybody, including the audience. So that's very sportsman-like Reggie. So good on you, Reggie.
That was Fight's initiative, which means it's now Dullahan's turn, and once again, Fight is out of resources. The remaining card in hand is an assault, which we know doesn't hit. If Dullahan can do anything, now it's time to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Fight. You know exactly the only card that Fight can defend with, or a Wild Swing out of a 29 card deck. That's massive. This tends to be the space you get, right? You have to take your outs as Taisei here and go swinging for defenses. Let's see what Taisei does. Tears number 2.
Nice. All right, it runs into an explosive shot, which is actually a very good attack. It would have stuffed to dive, so this is a good play here. And it is going to do 3 damage, which arguably matters. Ashlyn has to make some interesting math decisions here about whether she spends life or gauge to generate the gauge, or cards from gauge to generate the gauge cost.
Right. Usually in this situation, Daniel, if you don't know what to discard, would you just discard the gauge? Because you could always just get more gauge, but you can't necessarily get more life all the time. Is that the good paradigm to go about that?
Yeah, if you have enough gauge to do it, then and you're not going to get hit by something that doesn't ignore armor. Because if you're going to use the armor, use the armor. But in this case, the armor wasn't useful. It's because she was guaranteed to take the hit.
Right. And now the game seems to have gone full circle. Now the game looks pretty close, actually.
Taisei has reshuffled into this.
Right. And Fight has just started his reshuffle, which means that actually Taisei's on a timer. Taisei is now forced to do something into Fight. And that's really rough, because if you're forced to do something into fight actually has a decent amount of options, especially at range 6. So it's going to be really rough for Taisei unless Taisei is really, really careful. And now we know that at least one copy of Tears is gone. With the second copy, is the second copy live?
No, both copy. Well, the second copy is live in deck. We don't know if it's in hand or not, but after the reshuffle, it was available if I recall correctly. Taisei spends 5 life to advance, which turns on that speed boost and that power boost. This is very, very threatening.
Right, very, very threatening, especially because it's one of Fight's weaker ranges, if not his weakest range, especially when he doesn't have a curated hand. Fight is only really good at this range if he curated his hand. Fight does not currently have that, which is quite unfortunate.
Indeed.
So Reggie's in a tough spot right now.
He may have decent normals available, but there are no normals that are going to beat a 5 armor range 1 attack.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Taisei has +1 speed and +1 power because of his life threshold, so it's actually way tougher than you think it is, right? Like, not only is he fully armored up, you might not even get to retaliate against him.
There it is. I was waiting for it. Oh, this is going to be great. Yep, that's the EX Grasp. All right, so, okay. Fight did draw into a block, so he will survive
Very lucky
this.
of Reggie. Yes.
You only get so many of those, though.
Yeah, I believe this is 5 power. Am I wrong?
4, 5, yeah, I count 5.
Right. So Fight doesn't really have to mitigate a lot of this damage. Fight can, in fact, just mitigate, like, an extra 2. Or mitigate nothing if Fight wants to keep every single piece of gauge and every single card, which I think is the correct play here. I think you don't want to actually spend too much more than that.
I would argue that because taking 3 drops him to 11, I think he should spend 1 card.
Is that a threshold for Taisei?
It means basically that he'll die in 2 hits of 5 and 6, which Taisei can absolutely hit at this point.
Okay.
13 is a little bit harder. That's 7 and 6, which means that more specific cards are needed.
Right. Especially if you're Dulahan and not Taisei, right?
Indeed.
I will agree to that then. Yeah, especially with this transform up.
All right, that's a speed boost.
Edge of Death. Tag.
Yeah, Edge of Death is real good.
Real Edge of Death just turns Taisei into Zangief.
All right. Taisei is almost certainly going to advance.
Or just strike now. Ooh.
Oh, speed boost. That's good. And it is contested.
Yeah, contested speed boosts. This is really interesting because this signals to me that there's a spike in Taisei's hand right now.
Or a Black Volt.
Or a Black Volt. Yeah, that equally works as well.
I believe one copy of each is down. I could be wrong.
Yeah. This, regardless, whatever specific option it is, this is really rough. Because when Taisei decides that boosting the speed at range 3 is more important than getting in, it means that he thinks he can beat whatever Fight's about to play, which is a very dangerous proposition.
Fight moves back into range 1. He probably is either holding the other block, waiting to draw it, or going to rely on a focus to absorb some of the damage from whatever happens next.
Right. It's very... or maybe just to rely on another sweep. You know, with one sweep down, it might be okay.
I actually think
it's a really tough proposition.
I actually think this is a mistake, though, because this turns on Chaos Scissors as an attack.
Right, and we haven't seen a single one of those. So
not since Shuffle.
Those could easily be live. But maybe he just has something that beats Chaos Scissors. Maybe he just has his own grasp in hand or something like that.
Chaos Scissors right now is speed 8.
Oh no, right, because he has because he has Edge of Death. I keep forgetting.
He has Light and Edge of Death.
Ah, right. Gosh, Taisei is such a fun character.
I know, right? I really hope this is the Chaos Scissors. If it's something like Dust to Dust or Nothing Surge, I'll be disappointed.
Right.
Oh.
No, it's Assault.
Okay.
Focus. Good play.
All right. Well, gains 1, takes 2, deals 5 minus 2 is 3.
Right. I think
no, 4.
Taisei just loses 3. Yeah,
4.
Taisei just loses 3 net.
Yeah, that's the net, and it deals 2 to Fight, but gains advantage.
Now it's back to anybody's game, right? Now, unless Taisei plays Scissors right now, and I don't even think Scissors is that safe anymore without that speed boost.
It isn't. Oh, that helps it though.
Right. But
it's not as likely to hit, but it may well still save his life.
Right. Yeah. But now Fight can strike.
+3.
Exactly.
Yeah, this could be retreating bolts.
Right. It could be retreating bolts. It could be It could be a variety of things, actually. That's actually really scary. Without that light up, Taisei is actually in a big heap of trouble.
Yep. So I'm thinking it's potentially either retreating bolts or the other lightning gun. I haven't been tracking to see if the other lightning gun is available, but that would be speed 7 or speed 6, respectively.
Grasp would Grasp work?
Yep, that would also be speed 7.
Right. Grasp would work.
It is the lightning gun. All right, doesn't ignore armor though, so that is actually fine for Taisei.
Right. It's still a boatload of power.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's what, 8 damage?
Right.
Dual spins
Taisei's
3
gonna have
force,
to-
it negates all of it.
Right. Of course. And again, this is how you win those edges against fight. This is, you know,
So you're right. Not only was he holding Spike, he was holding EX Spike.
yeah, EX Spike with light. Oh baby, that Taisei play was gonna be so spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that, see, I think this is Reggie's aggressive mindset playing out for him, because instead of being scared of the Chaos Scissors, he just went, you know what? I'll just lose to Chaos Scissors. Sometimes you don't have it, right? And sometimes it's the out you need to take, right? And that's how you get those small kind of edges that could win you in a tournament setting, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is one
So
of...
Daniel,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. What do you think? What do you think both players should be doing right now in response to each other's moves? Should Taisei stay at this range? Should it seems like Taisei's gonna EX strike?
Oh man, oh man. I think that's the EX Chaos Scissors, and I think Ashton is doing very careful math to make sure it doesn't actually just kill her. Because
because it deals damage to her, right?
Yes, yes. But with EX and spending the life for gauge, it would have 4 armor, which means that the hit effect would not, in fact, do lethal.
Right.
And it would
Fight's
be a
only
chain
out
damage
here
hit.
would be to retreating bolts or to cross out, right?
If it's an EX Chaos Scissors, it is speed 7, which means yes, retreating bolts. Cross wouldn't work. EX cross or retreating bolts would be on the outs.
Right. Would block work? But we've already seen both blocks, right?
I think we have.
Oh, that's gonna be rough.
All right, what do we see? Feels like cross if he's only setting 1 card and he's not spinning. Oh no!
Oh, that's a second block. Okay,
All right.
we made a mistake.
Our mistake.
Thank you, reshuffle.
All right, so that is going to be 10 power at the end of the day. Ashton,
That's
yeah. Nice enough.
can I just say that that's a lot of damage?
It is a lot of damage.
Oh, Daniel. Yeah, Ashton's gonna probably do what you said. Yeah, correct, and then not.
Oh,
kill
spins 1
herself.
gauge actually. There's 2 different ways to spend for it. But yeah.
Right. Overall, the important part is that Ashton doesn't kill herself, right?
Yes.
Um,
Very sensible. So that's currently 6 armor on the block. Deciding if he wants to spend more.
You probably want to spend 1 more, right? Because otherwise you're gonna get stunned and not get any of the gauge anyway. So you might as well get the gauge.
Oh, 2 more. So 10. All right, blocks it all.
Blocks everything.
After retreat 1 goes into effect. There it is.
Right. And at this range, now Taisei doesn't have a hand in its fight's initiative. How much of your brain wants you to wild swing and just strike into Taisei right now while he has no options?
I would really need to check Taisei's discard. But with both spikes down, at least 1 assault, maybe both, not sure. At least 1 dive, I'm pretty sure down. Maybe not both.
Right.
And both Ashen Claws down, at least.
And
This-
both
this is a
both
decent
pairs
range.
are also down. So
That's true. This is a decent range.
right.
Like,
And
I'm
there's
personally...
the
Yep, there's
light.
light. I personally am very much into set play, so I like, as fight, knowing that I have more boosts than my opponent, I will be inclined to throw speed boost into play to just
I see.
put this pressure on them.
My brain is just telling me that, you know, fight on average has a lot of moves that hit at this range. And Taisei currently has no options. Because if I pass the turn to Taisei, Taisei could easily just, you know, spend his trillion gauge to draw a bunch of cards. So it might be, ooh, a reading.
Oh. This feels very, very risky. Let's see if it pays off.
Yes.
That's a reveal. Uh-oh. I see a speed 7 explosive shot. That is a speed 7 power 6 explosive shot.
Yep.
That is
And
game.
that's game.
Yep.
Right.
I wonder what the reading was, because I think I saw a Grasp getting discarded for that force cost, right? Now, normally at range 3, you read Grasp by default.
Right, yeah, because it doesn't matter what the speed ends up being.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was an assault. Maybe, no, it couldn't have been an assault, right? Because he had the +2 speed boost up. Which means that probably Ashton was calling a sweep or a focus. Or something along those lines. No, probably. No, none of those.
Spike.
What?
Spike or Grasp. And it wasn't Grasp, but it
Spike
had
or
to be
Grasp.
Spike.
Yeah, and that was it. That was a really good game from both ends.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
actually
dive-
thought
Would work, actually,
Huh?
because he had a +1 speed on Edge of Death. Sorry.
right because he was on edge of death, so dive would have worked as well. So there's a lot of things to call. Unfortunately, the last call did not make it. Ashlyn took her outs, and I think that's the correct play here, right? You take your outs. So
Mhm.
yeah, overall, what do you think about this game, Daniel?
Oh, very close. Very close indeed. So the winner was Fight, which means Fight will be out of the lineup. Taisei remains. And I haven't actually looked at Ashland's team. I'm guessing it has Akuma, Vega, at least one of those. Let me pull that up real quick.
I would not be surprised if the entire team was just Taisei, Akuma, Vega.
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest either.
Right. I assume Reggie's team is something like Fight, Carl Swangy, and Mole.
One moment. It looks like Ashland is Enchantress, Vega, and Taisei.
Okay, that's not bad. What's Reggie?
Reggie is Fight, Ryu, and Mole Knight.
That's actually not bad as well. I think,
strong teams.
Yeah, both quite strong teams. Do you think Reggie should bring in Ryu now, and hopefully use like Ryu's patently good character TM status to just try and blind pick Ashland's 3-pick?
I think Mole Knight is much likelier to troll Ashland's team. Like Mole Knight, I don't like into Taisei, but I'm perfectly happy into Enchantress or Vega.
Right. See, in my mind, it's like, Ryu might not have as much of an edge to troll the other characters, but Ryu probably does a little bit better into Taisei than Mole Knight does. So, there's a give and take there.
I would agree with that.
Right. I think overall I'm a bit of a safer player when it comes to my picks, right? I'd rather pick a character that could, like, especially because Reggie's one game ahead, right? Which means that he just needs to win one more game to get there. So game 2, I would play safe and pick the character that has the best average matchups against the remaining 3. What do you think?
In that case, it would absolutely be the Ryu pick. Personally, I think it's likely that my opponent will swap after losing a game with the character, depending on their performance. Now, that was a good Taisei game, so Ashton might just decide to run Taisei again on principle. Like,
yeah,
there weren't any problems with the Taisei play there, really.
Right.
So.
This is Daniel just performing a read. Daniel's just reading Ashland's pick. Oh, it's Vega.
And it's Mole Knight. There it is.
Oh, a very interesting matchup. And it seems like your gambit paid off, right? Like, this is one of those matchups where you feel like Mole Knight is favored. So this is going to be really interesting. What do you think is the winning strategy from both of these players? Because I personally think that for Mole Knight, it's going to be a lot of like repositioning the burrow to threaten Vega's usually safe corner plays. How about you?
I think Mole Knight has two choices, essentially. It's either do exactly what you just suggested, or use the burrow as a way to threaten Vega from repositioning, essentially. Like rely on melee attacks, because Vega is not usually very threatening in melee. He has to rely on normals or pounce. And then if Vega does jump out, use the burrow to chase him. So to use to compensate from ability. For Vega, I think the strategy is 100% just rush exceed.
I mean, when is that not the Vega strat? No offense to Vegas.
That's fair. Sometimes you don't get as much of a chance to do it, but Exceed Vega is very, very strong, and in particular that +3 power and that +1 speed, but especially the +3 power, very, like, it's going to be very useful. Yeah, like, you got to punch through those defenses.
Right. I mean, for people who might not know, Mole Knight is actually a really weird character because he has a lot of spread stats. His speeds aren't terrible, right? Like, half of his cards are actually on curve, but that's the problem. They're on curve. They're not above, which means that when he defends, Mole Knight has to essentially defend slow or hope that his read works out, right? So if you just have that bonus speed from Vega UA, flipside UA, I mean, it could literally just change the makeup of every interaction we have. And we see an opening claw.
Yep.
Very good for Vega. Very good for Vega. It's going to run you a little low on resources, but that extra range is a godsend because now you can spike the opening block push, which is really good.
You can threaten practically everything from this range because your assaults hit, your spikes hit, your sweeps hit, whatever the heck you want. Mole Knight boosts key charge, which is, not exactly key charge. It's advanced retreat to 3, but if you're on your burrow, add it to your gauge. Key charge is a boost from Street Fighter, which lets you add a card to your gauge. So I'm referencing it in this way. Hey, Viddy.
As far as I know about Reggie really likes succeeding with Mole Knight, so it's not unheard of to just use this as a key charge or just as a gauge boost so that he can just earn the gauge without having to interact with Vega to begin with.
Absolutely.
A very good line of play.
Yeah. It gives Vega fewer opportunities to build gauge of his own, and it moves Mole Knight closer to that sweet +2 power practically every other strike.
Right. He can't defend with it. Oh, imagine if he could defend with it, Daniel.
No, I refuse to imagine this. I'm good, thanks.
Is that a nightmare dimension?
Yep, I'll pass. We have Dancer Step, retreat up to 2 then strike, so retreating 2 and then probably striking with the Flying Barcelona. He has an auto crit on this. Flying Barcelona is 9 damage here. Right.
A 9 damage Flying Barcelona is going to be really huge right now. There's not a lot that Mole Knight can do to defend against this, so Mole Knight basically has to block. There's no other way around it. This is the power of Vega, by the way. Like, if Vega gets this setup right, you just have to eat the damage.
There's one other option because Vega is not yet exceeded, which is to play Dive.
That's true. Vega can play dive right now because Barcelona's only speed 3, so it wouldn't win.
No. Mole Knight can play dive.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, yeah. Mole Knight can play dive because Barcelona's not fast enough to speed tie it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I must have slipped up. It's okay. So what do you think? So if we don't have dive right now, would you think wild swinging is just the best option?
If we don't have dive or block, yes.
Yeah,
like,
I
those
believe
are the options
that's
you
true
need.
too.
And if they're not in your hand, they're in your deck.
Welcome to Exceed, baby. So that should be the block or the dive. Let's see what Reggie does. It's the focus.
Chose 2 guaranteed armor. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of resources to spend for just 2 armor, though. That's a block. Sorry, that's a focus, and focus is, also a card draw if it goes off. So that's actually a lot. Like, in terms of opportunity cost, a lot was lost there, despite only losing actually 1 card.
It is worth noting that Vega committed very heavily on that attack, though. Enchantress was a 1/4 special boost, and he had also played Claw the turn before, which means Vega is almost out of cards.
Oh, this is also pretty rough. So not only did Mole Knight get the strike off, which gives him the gauge, which deals damage to Vega, it was also against a Barcelona, which means Vega now has barely any options to confirm massive hits from range.
There you go. I was about to say, Vega still has a lot of range 4 options. Unfortunately, yeah, that just means out both Barcelonas for the rest of the shuffle, which is bad.
Right. Because if Mole Knight just steps back, nothing Vega can do can actually hit anymore. So that's a pretty decent thing to think about. And Mole Knight is striking right now, I assume, with Burrow. So this could basically be anything under the sun.
It's not Spike.
Oh, that's true. It's dive.
It
dive
is
pretty good here.
Yep, he'll move to the Burrow and then he'll advance fast.
Then move over. Oh, here's the Mole Knight shuffle, baby.
Deals 4
Vega's
damage.
gonna have to get rid of that. Yeah. Right.
Wait, what?
We also lose the mask. Right, we lose the mask, right?
Okay, he corrected the math. She can choose to spend a force to sustain it.
No, she's stunned. I know it's sweep. Never mind. Yeah. So we can keep the mask if we want to. Would you keep the mask? I don't think so. Right?
It entirely depends what that card in hand is.
Okay.
Well, I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a better card, maybe not. But yeah, this card not too good. Yeah, burrowing.
Scarlet Terror is fantastic in the right situations, but right now Vega's not getting to the corner anytime soon. So.
Right, and Vega's not going to spend that 1 gauge.
Oof.
Yeah, that's rough.
All right, takes 2 is stuns that actually will force the mask to fall off.
Yeah. Oh, Daniel. This is really, really terrifying because if we're looking at the board right now, the life totals might be really high, but Mole now has 4 gauge, and we know what's going to happen next turn.
Almost certainly.
And there we go. There's the Mole Exceed.
Yep.
The Mole Seed.
It's when Mole initiates and uses his Burrow. If he moves to his Burrow during the strike, he'll have +2 power. Oof. Defend, alright. Looking to tank an incoming hit.
Right. It's going to be really hard to tank something with +2 power on it. That confirms from this amount of range, which means it could be a sweep, could be like even a spike, right? So,
a spike would be particularly terrifying here.
Right. I mean, even if it ends up missing, a lot of Vega's options actually advance him too. So he'll actually advance onto the Burrow and prevent the teleport, which means that Mole gets to spike him anyway.
There's the spike.
Exactly what happens.
Oof. Alright, so Mole moves, hits for 7.
Right. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Sadly, Mole does not have the terrifying boost. He does, instead, just throw 7 8-power attacks on his turn, which is terrifying.
Vega preps, looking for those options. Honestly, if I was Vega here, I might legitimately just Wild Sing. He's at the corner. Mole Knight is much weaker when his opponent initiates into him, and Vega has enough threats here to create self-contained mix-ups.
Right.
Yep, Mole Knight knows that. He's building up his defenses. That gets teched.
Oh. Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Well, what should Mole Knight's play here be? I think Mole Knight should spend some gauge to move out or move in. There you go. So this is likely a setup for something. Probably spike number 2. What do you think?
I think probably like focus or something similarly defensive. Or it could be the headbutt of the cross. Oh no, I think he's out of crosses.
Right. So it could be headbutt, but if that were the case, I would have moved not towards Vega, but away from Vega. Right?
That makes sense. A slower, more defensive move makes more sense. So something like the other focus or block.
Right. I do like the other focus or block, or even just a sweep, right? Like that would ruin Vega to some capacity. So.
If Vega doesn't stun it. And right now, this is a very precarious position for Mole Knight.
Right. I mean, if Vega just plays, gosh, like any one of his specials, it will deal like +4 damage. So Mole Knight has to be very careful about
Oh,
this.
using the burrow? I bet that's block.
I bet that's headbutt.
All right, let's see it.
Yeah.
Vega has to decide what he's using in defense. Pounce is fairly reliable here. It does lose really hard to the other spike if Mole Knight has it.
Right. For
Might
sure.
also play a critical special to just deal 500 million damage.
Do you think the mental strain of like having lost to the spike earlier means that Ashlyn might not want to play her bounce again into a possible other spike?
I doubt it. That's not generally been my experience. Let's see. Headbutt. Okay. That's pretty funny, actually. So this headbutt will not stun, but because of its positioning choice, Mole Knight will get to advance, gain advantage, and then send Vega sailing past him because he did not stun. Right?
This should stun. Doesn't headbutt deal 4?
Yes, and Vega had to defend and...
never mind.
Wait,
defend.
No, exceeded. Exceeded. That's +2. That does stun.
Right, it's absolutely stunned. Yeah, we're right.
My mistake. Ooh, Grass pulls Vega out of the corner. That's super bad for Vega. Yeah, I momentarily forgot that Mole Knight was exceeded. Whoops.
Right. And yeah, I was right. It was headbutt. Marcus' prediction, 500.
You're absolutely correct.
Daniel, it's really fun casting with you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. So what do you think Vega should do now? I assume this is a cross, right? This has to be a cross.
It could be a dive.
Oh, that would be really spicy.
Jumping
But what
back to
if
the
it's just
corner.
headbutt number 2?
Assault. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Cheeky.
See, I like this about Ashlyn, right? Ashlyn's taken her out. So not only has she gained the advantage, not only has she dealt some damage, not only has she gotten rid of a diving dig, she's also now on the burrow. So it's going to waste Mole Knight's next turn. It's really good.
He has to reposition that burrow. He's probably going to put it directly behind her. Might put it in the center of the arena. There you go.
There you go. Jinx, you owe me a sofa.
A sofa?
Isn't that what isn't that the phrase?
It's a soda.
Oh, okay.
It's a soda. Beverage, not a piece of furniture.
Or regardless, I high jump out of this conversation. Vega's at 3 gauge right now. That means one of the ultras is live, right? Or both of them are?
They are both live, actually. Neither is safe, but Mole Knight is using his burrow here, which means the fastest thing that he can play that will hit is an assault. So
Spike number 2.
It could be spike number 2, but Vega, with his character ability, can both stun assaults and deal enough damage. Sorry, stun spike and deal enough damage to kill everything else. Right. Unfortunately, that is just a block push for 7. Vega needs to spend some resources here. Vega is very, very force hungry this game.
Right. We also have to understand that I think Ashlyn's a bit scared right now, right? Like, yeah, Ashlyn's a bit scared. Well, it's scary, right? To be bared down by this mole boy at exceeded. You know, and when you're at a really decently low life total, it's gonna be very scary to play anything into that. So I think the block is also a valid play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the block is fair. I probably would have taken the riskier play of doing like a critical wild swing, gunning for one of those specials that can deal 5 to 7 damage.
That's fair. This is a really good play on Ashlyn's part. You don't want to get near the mole burrow for the mix-up, so she just moves past mole, hopefully to issue that entire thing. But now I think this is just a grasp or something. Yep, there's a grasp. Nice play by Ashlyn.
That'll deal 3 damage to Vega, but 6 damage to Mole, bringing this life total just a little bit closer.
And, you know, every edge you take against Mole is useful, because when Mole goes low, half of Mole's cards become blank, because he can't play them anymore. Because they're too slow, and if he has to trade, he'll eat damage. So, yeah, this is Vega's chance. Should you change cards in this situation, Daniel?
No. I would retain that gauge to threaten the Ultra. As much as I don't like preparing here, I would either prepare or reshuffle. The advantage of preparing is that it guarantees me 2 force I can use next turn to get into the corner. And I need to be in that corner.
Sounds like a really good play. Doesn't Vega have 4 gauge?
3, I thought.
Okay, I thought that something was stacked underneath the sweep, but I could have been mistaken.
I could be mistaken as well. We'll find out later.
Right. We're doing this.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Attempts the read and does not succeed. Gets hit for lethal. Alas.
Good game.
It was 4 gauge. No, it was 3 gauge, because the 4th one was the Bloody High Claw itself. Good game.
Oh, okay.
That'll give the set to Reggie.
Congratulations, Reggie. I think Reggie had an amazing set this game. Sorry, amazing game this set. Who might not be able to keep up with his tempo. He had some really good attacks and really good reads, so well done, Reggie.
Please disregard the room credentials that I just posted on stream.
These are
Whoops.
not the room credentials you're looking for.
Yes. I forgot what I had last used on my clipboard. Alright.
Somebody in chat says, "Whoa, a whole sofa."
Yeah, you owe me. Why do I owe you a sofa now? I don't really think I accept this. Alright.
All right. Wonderful game, Daniel. Thank you so much for letting me cast with you. Hopefully
Yeah, thanks
everybody
for
else
joining me.
enjoyed.
Yep. Alright, see you all around.
See y'all around. Bye.
Bye.